Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I'm walking you guys through some Roast Master X. It's been way too long since we've had a Roast Master X sub-rogue guide. Way out of date on this one. One of my uploads from Legion, guys, got like so many views. You guys loved it. The rogue walkthrough on how to burst as a rogue, talents as a rogue, and I've been putting this video off mainly because maybe I'm a little self-conscious with my rogue gameplay, alright? But Roast Master recently hit the Elite Rogue 2400. We actually, right now we're actually at 2369. Come on, Roast. You couldn't even bring your best performance for the video. What's going on? We actually topped at 2462 so far this season, and I'm like, okay, if we can almost hit 2500 and twos, that's like pretty freaking high as a sub-rogue. I've been playing sub-rogue, Fire Mage and 2v2, no voice, up to almost 2500. So I'm like, okay, maybe we have the credentials now to make this video. I have not been playing threes, so this is a rogue guide, okay, official sub-rogue guide for patch 815, but I have not been playing threes, and I haven't been playing RPGs. This is mainly geared around 2v2, but sub-rogues are pretty much only geared around 2v2 right now. Anyway, in threes, if you are going to play, it's probably going to look pretty similar, but I have not been playing much threes, guys. Threes is a sub-rogue right now, like, definitely would recommend Assass. But this is primarily for Rogue Mage 2's. Been playing a ton of it recently. I'm going to do a full-length guide talking about talents, honor talents, how I'm gearing, stat priority, rotation, and I'll walk you guys through a quick video as well. So first things first, first row, find weakness. This is nerfed, I think, to 20% in PvP instead of 40%, but it is going to allow you to bypass a little bit more armor, being able to burst a little bit harder. A lot of these talents have been the same for quite some time, so I don't need to spend a ton of time on them, but I am playing with Subterfuge to extend the duration of Shadow Dance, so you can break stealth, but still control after you're breaking stealth. Super amazing talent. Some people have been playing Night Stalker and Enveloping Shadow build. I've tried it. I'm not a fan. I like this build a lot better. Subterfuge, Dark Shadow. I already know some people in the comments are asking, what do you think about Night Stalker Enveloping? I think it's a little bit worse than this build right here. A little bit less damage, maybe a little bit more control, but the spec just feels a bit more awkward. Mark for Death, 30-second cooldown. Used to be 1 minute last expansion. 30-second cooldown in this expansion makes it so powerful. It does feel a bit weird to play without Vigor, but Mark for Death, on that such a short cooldown, being able to Mark for Death Kidney, Mark for Death Abyss, being able to use this talent in so many different ways to make your gameplay very fluid. Solid choice here. And then Soothing Darkness. So a lot of people in threes are playing Elusiveness, and I would play Elusiveness in threes, but in twos, when you're going for a lot of re-stealths, I'll show you guys a game here at the end of this video, but when you're going for a lot of re-stealths, you're running away a lot. Soothing Darkness is going to give you so much value from sitting in stealth and sitting in those shadow dances. Soothing Darkness, great overall pick here. Now, Prey on the Weak is going to give you a bit more burst. I think this is only 5% in PvP, which, by the way, pause the video. Sub-rogues are pretty weak right now. Blizzard, just unnerf Prey on the Weak, and then sub-rogues will be good. Or unnerf Dark Shadow, or unnerf Find Weakness, and sub-rogues will be good. Because right now they're a little weak still, okay? Come on, Blizzard, come on! Dark Shadow, while Shadow Dance is active, all damage you deal is increased by 25%, being able to make it so you can burst a bit harder. But I think in Arena, this is only 15, if I'm not mistaken. So once again, a lot of these damage reductions put into place, but it's still good to stack it up. So when you're bursting, which I'll show you here in a sec, all of these things start stacking up. You have Find Weakness, you have Prey in the Weak, you have Dark Shadow, you have Shadow Dance, you have Night, you have Shadow Blades, you have Symbols, you have all these things adding up to really do a lot of bursts. And then Master of Shadows to gain energy while you're dancing and stealthing, so you can actually have enough energy to get your rotations off. As a rogue, I'm always playing Trinket. The only time I wouldn't play Trinket is if you're Orc, I'd still play Trinket, but if you're human, you could play Relent and have that human Trinket instead. I think Cold Blood is pretty much an always pick. Shadowy Duel and Smoke Bomb I always pick in Rogue Mage 2. So in Rogue Mage 2 is always with these talents. However, you in other situations, maybe in threes or in other two situations, you can play Maneuverability instead of Shadowy Duel versus a Frost Mage. Sometimes I'll take that in twos actually Maneuverability instead of Shadowy Duel for that Frost Mage. I've seen Naj actually take Death from Above instead of Cold Blood for a little bit more mobility. I don't personally prefer that. I never really play with Shiv, don't play with Honor Among Thieves, don't play with Silhouette, don't play with Dagger. Don't play a Thieves Bargain anymore. I think the trade-off's not quite worth it anymore. Don't play Veil. So pretty much just going at these talents like pretty much every single game. but you can go maneuverability against Frost Mages instead of Shadowy Duel for a bit more mobility versus that class that is not going to let you move. So, I mean, those are the talents on our talent breakdown. As far as stat priorities, guys, I'm playing with double daggers. I'm playing with 1 quick nav, 1 masterful navigation on the enchants. I'm playing with Maledict and Safeguard. Instead of the Safeguard, you can play with a Battle Master as well. I've seen a lot of sub-rogues do that to actually get more value out of their Crimson Vial, because you can Battle Master and then Crimson Vial for that huge heal. But the Maledict, 100,000% needed. Maledict as a sub-rogue allows you to actually get some burst damage off. And then I'm going with full mastery, 78% mastery. It could actually be higher. I can get up to about 90% mastery. If some of my gear, like my bracers, aren't super good. They have no mastery besides the socket. And yeah, some of the gear could definitely be a bit better. But yeah, 1,000% need a lot of mastery on sub-rogue to actually deal some burst damage with those big eviscerate crits, Avis, Mark for the Fist, something like that, to actually get some damage out there. As far as your traits, guys, I know this is a pretty hot topic. What traits do I run as a sub-rogue? Guys, the traits are all not very good. I'd highly recommend just going with your highest item level piece. If you have a 415 piece versus a 400, more often than not, the 415 is just better, right? Period. Higher item level. But if you have a lot of high item level pieces and you have the luxury of choosing, I would say your best 3 traits are First Dance, Knight's Vengeance, and Battlefield Focus. You at least want 1 First Dance because it does give you those extra combo points. So you definitely want 1 First Dance. And then from there, Knight's Vengeance is probably your second best. And then from there, Battlefield Focus probably your third best. Once again, it's not super needed, right? All the traits as sub-rogue are pretty so really go for that item level more than anything. And the stat priority, go with Mastery first, and then I think Crit, and then Verse, and then Haste. The last 2 don't matter as much. Maximizing the Mastery, very, very, very critical. And then after that, you get some critical strike rating. But that's actually the only way you're going to be able to burst as a sub-rogue. So, the part of the video you guys have probably all been waiting for is how do I actually deal damage as a sub-rogue in one of my openers? I always preface this. This is the hardest part of the video for sub-rogue, guys. As a sub-rogue, every single global is going to depend on what the enemy does. Okay? Every single global depends on what the enemy does and what kind of setup you have. If they shrink it, you're going to have to restun. If they don't shrink it, you're going to put up the Nightblade. If you already have the Nightblade and they don't shrink it and they're already stunned, then you're bursting. So it's a constant. You have to use your brain and think about what's actually happening. The easiest way, I've actually been typing this recently into the chat, the easiest way to conceptualize this for me is, as in a priority list, you want the guy stunned, okay? So you want the guy stunned. If they're already stunned, then you want to put up Nightblade, okay? Nightblade. And if they're already stunned and they already have Nightblade, then you want to, and you're at 5 combo points, then you want to Avis. So if 5 combo points, you want to Avis, okay? And then if they're stunned, they're Nightbladed, and you don't have 5 combo points, that is when you're going to be Shadow Striking. So Shadow Strike. So it's like a lot of the times the rotation is going to be Cheap Shot, Nightblade, Shadow Strike, Avis, Cheap Shot, right? It's very, very basic in terms of that. So when do you use all these other modifiers? Which, by the way, is the reason I love sub-rogue design so much. You have Shadow Blades, you have Dance, you have Cold Blood, you have Symbols. You can stack all of these things up. You have Maledict. You can stack all of these things up in different ways. So a lot of this comes down to personal preference, how you want to get your playstyle down. What I do a lot of the times, and which I'll show you guys here in a second on this video clip, I will, be in stealth. I'll mark for death, kidney the off target. Okay, then I'll step, Sheep, Nightblade, Dance, Cold Blood, Shadow Strike, Symbols, Shadow Strike, Sheep, Avis, Sheep, and then Shadow Strike, Avis. Right? That is generally the rotation. If I wanted to, I could start that off with Shadow Blades. Right? If I could start that off with Shadow Blades and get a bit more damage out, a bit more combo point builders during that. The reason the kidney shot on the off target is nice because when you're playing with your mage, they can actually get that set up a bit smoother. Now, the reason this is going to always change is because if you already had 5 combo points, then you don't need to mark for death because if you already have 5 combo points just from hitting the main target, then all of a sudden, when you go to kidney the off target, you already have 5, which means you still have mark for death. If you still have mark for death, that's great, right? You kidney the off target, and then you could even pop blades, cheap, And then if you already have Knight's Vengeance, or a Nightblade rather, on the primary target, then you don't even have to dodge the primary target, right? So that's why the priority of just doing stun, make sure they're stunned. If they trinket, you restun, right? Make sure the target's stunned. So stun, Nightblade, Abyss at 5 combo points, and then Shadow Strike. This is really what you want to keep in mind, right? Stun, if they're not stunned, you Nightblade. If they're already Nightbladed, you Abyss. If you're at 5 combo points, if you're not at 5 combo points, then you Shadow Strike. And a lot of, like, a really nice opener could be something like, okay, you're hitting the primary target, you already have up your Nightblade, you pop Blades, and you get 5 combo points. This is, like, perfect. Then you come over to the off target and you Kidney, you Step Dance, and then you just Abyss, and look at the damage. Abyss, and you can re-Abyss, you can even Mark for Death Abyss, right? So much damage going off in a rotation like that. If you already have the Nightblade, if you already have the common points, then you can use the Mark for Death offensively with the Eviscerate. You can build the common points with the Shadow Blade so you can get more Eviscerates. And then Maledict usually you want to use at the end of your rotation, right? So that it stops the healing. So right at the end of your last stun is when you want to use that Malediction Trinket. And yes, I mean, that's pretty much the rotation. A lot of the time, it's just a very basic opener. If for those of you that are just like, okay, well, what should I actually press? Cheap, Nightblade, Dance, Shadow Strike, Symbols, Shadow Strike, Cheap, Abyss, Cheap, Shadow Strike, and then Abyss. And that's pretty much the rotation that I'm going to be using, like, a lot of the time. Very basic. Is it the most damage? No, but it's a very versatile opener because if they Trinket, the stun, you can immediately read Cheap Shot. You save your Mark for Death, so you can Mark for Death Kidney on the off target. The reason you Symbols a bit later, by the way, after the first Shadow Strike, is so that you actually don't run out of energy, so you can get that final and third stun off. So the Symbols of Death comes a little bit later than you might be used to. And then you can throw in Cold Blood. You can preface that with Shadow Blades if you want a bit more damage, and you can end it with Maledict as well. So just one more time, basic opener, Cheap, Nightblade, Dance, Cold Blood, Shadow Strike, Symbols, Cheap, Abyss, one more Cheap, and then you can throw out the Maledict right here. Throw out another Abyss or a Shadow Strike. Boom. That's what I'm going to be doing almost every single opener as that sub-rogue. And I guess I should mention, too, if you're playing with Kidney Shot, so if say you blind, right? Blind on the off target, boom. Then you don't need the Kidney, the off target. Then you can do an opener with Kidney, and it's the same thing, guys. Same exact thing. Stun, Nightblade, Abyss, Shadow Strike, right? So if they're already, you mark that Kidney, they're already stunned. You get up the Shadow Nightblade. Now you can just do your normal rotation. Keep the guy stunned, and then keep up that Nightblade. Keep the guy stunned at 5 common points Abyss. And if you don't have 5 common points, they're already stunned. They already have Nightblade. That's when you're Shadow Striking. So that should help you a lot with the rotation on Sub-Rogue in PvP. And the reason it's not just cut and dry. I wish I could just say, like, press 1, 2, then 3. It always depends on the situation. If they Trinket, if they're Orc, that's why it's easier to say keep the guy stunned, because if they're Orc, you're gonna have to stun more frequently than if they're human. If they're Relentless, you're gonna have to stun even more frequently. So a lot of these things are really gonna dictate and impact your CD usage or your rotation. But just keep this in mind. Keep them stunned. Keep them Nightblade, Abyss, and Shadow Strike. Let's just briefly look at the macros. I don't think I use anything more than just focus Cheap Shot, focus Kick, focus Blind, focus Sap, focus Step, focus Kidney. I use a Party Set macro. Shadowy Duel, Stop Attack macro, actually kind of nice. Stealth macro, I actually don't know if I use this anymore. Sap 1, 2, 3 macros. Abyss Dismount macro, which isn't necessary. This macro combines Shadow Strike and Backstab. So if you're in the stealth, it'll Shadow Strike. If you're not in stealth, it'll Backstab. I've actually heard that it's not good to use this, so maybe I don't recommend using this. Because right when you dance, it takes a second for your bars to swap. So sometimes if you dance Shadow Strike, it'll still Backstab. So maybe not the most insane macro here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All my macros listed down below as well. But I actually want to walk you guys through a video or a game in this guide as well to kind of walk you guys through the play style of how Rogue actually plays. Alright guys, we're playing some Rogue Mage 2's Tolvaran Arena, playing some Rogue Mage. Now that you guys know exactly the spec, the rotations, like your objectives, kitting that off target, triple stunning the main target, we're hopping into a game here against Rogue Priest. And generally, we want to kill the DPS. We want to kill the Rogue here. fast forward just a little bit more. And we want to kill the rogue, and it looks like he saps me out. So this is like worst case scenario ever. Why? I actually did have a global to vanish there. Maybe I should have vanished. But he does get the kidney onto me. My mage is playing this beautifully by sheeping the rogue as he opens me, so I don't have to waste my trinket. So I sit the full stun. It's not Vendetta. I pop Mark for Death Kidney on the healer, just like we talked about, and I pre-pop Blades. So I pre-pop Blades, Mark for Death Kidney on the healer. I probably will step, dance, cheap, back onto the DPS. So normally, this is the global that we would Nightblade, but he Trinket Cloaks, so instead of Nightblading, we're going to re-stun, right? Always depends on what they do. We want the cheap Nightblade, he Trinket Cloaked, we re-stun instead. And then we can re-stun one more, and now we're running away, right? Now we're running away. I don't need to stay in too long, and this is where a lot of rogues go wrong, especially in Rogue Mage 2s. So right there, they would have just stayed in and hitting the rogue. Guys, we already got the trinket. There's no more polymorph or stun DR for another 10 seconds. Run away. You're not going to do anything. You're not a high consistent damage class. Run away. Get the re-stealth, right? Have your mage poly the rogue. Have your mage nova the rogue. Have your mage keep the rogue. Run away. Get this re-stealth. Boom. Now we got the re-stealth. Now we can do the same thing. Rogue has no trinket. So once we actually find him, eyes come out in 30, or we can maybe find him before that, then we can do something really, really nice after that. Hopefully, the rogue will open up onto my mage, or we could grab the eye and hit the rogue. Hopefully, I don't get sapped again. That would not be fun for the Roast Master X. But let's see what actually happens here. Kind of hanging out. Eyes are up in about 10 seconds, 5 seconds. My mage grabs the eye as I fast forward here, and boom, we hit the rogue. So now, once again, Mark for Death. Kidney the Priest, cheap the rogue. Boom! It's like we've seen it before, guys. Mark for Death, Kidney, cheap shot. We're going to press Dance, Cold Blood, with that, or Nightblade first, I guess. Nightblade, Dance, Cold Blood, Shadow Strike, Symbols, Shadow Strike, cheap, Abyss, cheap, Shadow Strike, Abyss, right? We already know exactly what's happening here. Tons of damage coming out. Re-stun, re-cheap, one more stun. I'm going for that Abyss. I do get kidneyed, and it's on Vendetta, so I trinket immediately, and I should pop Evasion here. It's actually a mistake that I don't pop Evasion. I should... Okay, there's the Evasion. Maybe a second or two late. Full blind on the Priest and trinket. So right here, in this situation, they have no trinkets. They have no Cloak of Shadows. They have no Evasion. They have nothing left up right now. So all we have to do, run away, live one more go. I duel the Rogue so that... he doesn't get topped off in this duel. Keeps him nice and low HP for this next setup. I don't know if we'll actually be able to live until this next setup anyway. Like, the rogue might actually get topped before. But I run away, right? I'm popping Crimson Vial. Now, the rogue should have really been chasing me right here. I step to my mage, and I run away for this re-stealth. And he does get the step kidney on me. But look at the polymorphs from my mage. Beautifully played by Creamsicle here. He sheeps the rogue off of me. And now, look. They have no trinkets. Mage comes off DR, or Priest comes off DR for polymorph in 3. Rogue can get full kidney there. So we can just probably kidney shot the rogue here. And this is where we could kidney onto the main target here with the CC onto the priest. So my mage actually fakes the premonition, full sheeps the priest. We full kidney the rogue. And here we have the full kidney shot. We don't have dance for 3 more seconds. We can just get a backstab into a Nightblade. We can mark for death of fist if we want. Boom, mark for death of fist. And here's dance. And this, I'm so glad this happened. This is why sub-rogue rotation is so hard. Let me rewind. Right here, in the poly, I don't have a dance for 13 seconds. I don't have a vanish for 25. All I can do is kidney. My mage sheeps, and we get the kidney. Okay, right here, I don't have dance for 2 more seconds. I can't dance this guy, right? I could mark for death of this, but I want that Nightblade up. So what are the options? We backstab once, we Nightblade, then we can mark for death of this to reduce the cooldown on dance if we need it a bit more. And now that we reduce the cooldown of dance from that mark for the fist, we got the damage out, then we can pop dance and symbols and then do our normal rotation to continue the stun. So we backstab, Nightblade, mark for death of fist. Here we dance, pop symbols, re-abyss, re-cheap shot. Okay, so we always keep the guy stunned. And this is a rotation that I just made up on the fly because of what I had available to me. And if you want to be a good sub-rogue, guys, there is no rotation. You have to be good at looking at what you have as far as cooldowns, and coming up with your rotation on the fly based on, okay, I have kidney now, I have dance in 10. If I mark for Death of Fist, I'll get another dance, so I can kidney, mark, backstab, Nightblade, mark for Death of Fist, then dance, then Shadow Strike, then Abyss, then a cheap shot. It worked out perfectly here. Then we get another cheap shot into the third cheap shot into the Abyss, and he dies. That was a perfect game there. Bunch of different resets. We did get found, but a bunch of different resets into restelts, into the off kidneys, into that nice rotation there. But like I said, guys, the rotation always changes. A lot of the times that triple cheap shot rotation that I said multiple times in this video, but sometimes it's going to be that kidney shot go instead with a bunch of different things like Mark for Death Abyss if you have that available. But regardless, keep the guy stunned, keep the Nightblade up, Abyss when you can, and then Shadow Strike. That is how you're playing Sub-Rogue, guys, in BFA in patch 8.15 in a Rogue Mage 2v2. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs video up if you liked it. Thumbs it down if you didn't. Talk to me down below in the comments about what you guys want to see in the upcoming uploads. Guys, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Xaryu LOL on the gram, XARYU LOL. Take your phone out, go follow me on the gram. Tons of content over there, fitness content, mindset stuff, and when these videos go live, I post a story. When I go live on Twitch, I post a story. So you guys go follow me over on the gram for the stories and all the content over there. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.